is good, everybody? It is cold, so I'm coming back to another video. This time it's going to be about the tuning experience. Now, huge shout out to Marintuned for helping me out getting this on a Stage 2 tune. So I did get my downpipe installed by Beamer Clinic that is in my old hometown. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of look at what it's like being on a Stage 2 tune. So you'll get some sights and sounds as to what it mainly means to have smiles per gallon per se. So sit tight, you'll see that in a second, and then I will give you guys more of a view of what this car is like compared to the 86. Okay, what is good, everybody? It is Van Glorious back to you again with another video, and as you can see, I'm in the car. So I thought it would be a great idea to review some things about the vehicle. Most importantly, I want to talk about tuning. Now, I did get a chance to get the car tuned a few months back, maybe like 2 months, 2-3 months back. So I got the car tuned and it was a good feeling. It was very great. I mean, I was super happy to finally be tuned. Stock power was great, but I wanted to see what Stage 1 was all about. After all, Stage 2 is the big talk of the Supras because it's only a downpipe and a tune. So I kind of did one too many extra steps along the way when I could have just did that, but I wasn't sure if I wanted a Stage 2 tune or not. So my honest review is going to be from all 3 stages. So like I said, I was happy with the stock tune up until the point I got tempted with more power. And when I got my Stage 1 tune, I was really happy with that too, because I really felt like the car was alive. It was much more alive than what the stock form was like. And the stock form is impressive, but you can tell that there's a bunch of power waiting to be unlocked in it. Now with the Stage 1, it was like, man, this is great. It was definitely one of those things where if you want to stay conservative and not go balls to the walls in terms of power, that is the perfect place to be. Stage 1 for this car. But I have to say, being on Stage 2, courtesy of Marin, shout outs to Marintuned. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on the Supra MK5 forums. Amazing. I mean, his work is amazing. Now, I did go with an off-the-shelf map for both scenarios, my Stage 1 and my Stage 2. But this experience with the Stage 2 with the off-the-shelf map is fantastic. The car feels very much smooth like stock, but all of this power just comes surging at you, and it's available all the time, almost in any gear. It really is impressive. Like, I was really blown away when I flashed the tune, and it was at night when I did it, and I went out for a little test run, and I was like, damn, like, this is dangerous. The car feels dangerous in the sense of if you don't know what it is that you have, or if you haven't been familiar with tuning, or maybe like rear-wheel drive, for instance. If you're new to rear-wheel drive and you want to get a Stage 2 tune, I would recommend you be careful. Always keep traction control on. It's like the best thing you could do, because this car, it can get squirrely if you send it too hard in a low enough gear. But I mean, I've been rear-wheel drive for 12 to 13 years now, so I know how to handle those things. But it's definitely one of those things where you don't want to be out in the rain or snow on the stock tires that come with the vehicle. You definitely want to upgrade tires. Regardless of that, actually, you want to upgrade tires if you can. Like, that's going to be my thing for the springtime, because I will put winters on pretty soon. So right off the bat, if you're getting into Stage 2, please get tires, or drive carefully. Do not be too ambitious, because you can end up crashing, basically. I did want to give you guys a chance to kind of hear and get the sights and sounds of it, at least in the car, because I don't think you would capture it that much on the outside with all the wind that would kind of come through. So I'm turning on to the highway right now. And traction kicks on still. And my goodness, it just sends you, it sends you into outer space so fast. It's really, really crazy. I mean, it puts a smile on my face every time I drive. It's honestly like the best thing. This is like the coolest thing about this car, that it's just so damn capable. It's always ready to rock. And I love that about this. And the way Marin has the tune dialed down is like fantastic. It honestly is so good. It's hard to want more power after this unless you're just a power hungry person. But at least for me, this is a nice place to be for a while. Like, this is a really good place to be. So I believe I'm going to stay on the Stage 2 tune for quite some time until I feel the need to do an upgraded pure 800 turbo. That will be one of the things that I probably do. Otherwise, everything else is going to be visual. So that's really what it is about this tune. There's power everywhere, and it's probably the best thing you could do if you own a car like this. So hey, if you have a Supra or a Beamer and you have a B58, by all means, please do this. This is amazing. So I'm actually going to switch over to the 8.6 because I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what tuning in that car is like.
Yeah, because I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. Haven't seen a motherfucker like groove to this. Like a new edition, type 2 precision, like true religious. I'm Avengers, I'm a vision. Sergeant tenant, yes, yeah, I'm a tenant. Push to the limit. Yeah. Yeah, it's right way, I'm so on. Top of the dome, like a gold mine. I'm a soul.
So I'm in the 8.6 now, and I'm probably going to talk about this a little bit more longer because I've owned this car for a longer duration of time. So I've had this for almost 5 years now. What I like most about this vehicle is that despite it being seriously slow, it's been a great journey with upgrading things. So I drove the car around stock for probably around close to a year and a half, and then I got the modification bug. So I went ahead, my first mod, what was my first mod? Well, my first real power mod, because I'll talk about power and then the visual stuff you'll see, but my first power mod was getting OFT, so that is an open flash tablet. And what it is that it allows you to tune the vehicle, and then after that, some months later, I think it was probably the following year after that, I went ahead and got unequal length headers. Now, some of you probably don't know what I mean by headers, but headers are an exhaust component that is for your engine. So with the Subarus, a lot of the WRXs and STIs, the stable Subi rumble comes from unequal length headers. Equal length doesn't give you as much rumble, but I mean it is slightly there. But with unequal, it is totally there. And I always wanted that sound because there's little hints of it. When you would get this car with the stock header, you get a little bit of rumble, but not too much. So I was really happy to get that done. So I put those on, and then I flashed the Stage 2 tune on it, and it was amazing. I was like, man, this car should have came like this stock. You know, honestly, there's no reason that it couldn't have came like this. But I know a lot of the staff on Toyota and the Subaru project probably were thinking, well, people are going to tune this anyway, and they're going to do what they want to do, and they're going to put all this aftermarket stuff on, so may as well just let them do it themselves. But I still think that they could have done this in stock form, and they still have a chance to do that. So the cool thing is that I did gain a decent amount of noticeable power with this vehicle. But I think the next cool thing about this is that then I started getting into things that you can edit within the tuning. Now, I can't really edit stuff in EcuTech because it's just not made to be edited unless you're an actual professional tuner and you're licensed. So the cool thing with OFT was that I was able to edit some maps, and things like launch control and flat foot shifting you get. And I know with EcuTech you can get flat foot shifting and launch control as well. I will say that EcuTech is more polished on this platform, just like it is on the Supra. It is just an all-around better platform to tune on. But at the time when I got OFT for this car, I felt that, you know, I didn't want to break the bank, and I was kind of still saving money to move. So I kind of couldn't ball all the way out with this vehicle like I kind of wanted to, which is why, like, I'm still going to be doing things to this car. Just my focus is on the Supra, because obviously I want to do enough modifications to where, you know, I feel like I'm done with it. But keeping this car alongside the Supra was the best idea, because since that isn't stick shift and this is, when you hop back into this, you feel really good about it, and you get that control back again. And I've said this in the previous videos about the Supra, I don't feel like the ZF Trans limits that car one bit. I honestly think it's a great fit, and I'm glad they went that route with it. They're probably going to offer stick shift at some point, but I don't really care at this point. I'm not going to get out of the car into another Supra if it has stick shift. Like, I have this already. And that's kind of where you realize how much fun this car is, because although I'm not beating on it right now because it's almost on its way to operating temp, I still have so much fun driving this car. And it could just be regularly driving it, not even pushing it hard. I still have a great time in this car. Yes, it's very slow, but more times than others, you're gonna drive a slower car faster so you can have that fun. But you have so much control. You don't feel as if, you know, like you go too fast at one point and that you'll just crash. Like, it takes a lot to really mess things up in a car like this, and it's a very forgiving vehicle. I mean, a lot of people love this platform outside of it being, you know, wide-bodied everywhere you turn and ricey mods and stuff like that. But just coming from an honest modifier's perspective, this is a great platform, and I'm super happy that I got to get one of these the time I did, because I was coming from Z cars from the 80s, so there wasn't much that you could modify. It was all fabrication work. To be honest, making Easy Power was good, because yes, you could source out turbo parts for very cheap because it's an old car, but you still get the problem of, okay, I have an old car and I'm probably going to be shelling 3 or 4 times the amount of what it's worth into it. And for some, that's great, but for me, I can honestly say I'm not one of these people that has a whole bunch of tools, and I didn't have a big garage at the time, so, you know, I wasn't a garage rat where I was going to be fabricating all these things and letting it sit in a garage, and, you know, had another car. At the one time, I only had one other car. So the Z cars, you know, had I gotten into them now, I probably could have done some great things, but I'm kind of happy things panned out the way they did, because, you know, I started out with beater cars, you know, you drive them until they're not drivable anymore, or until they get too expensive to fix. But it teaches you patience, and I learned a lot with this vehicle too. I took the patience that I had with the previous cars, and when I wanted to modify something and it wasn't, you know, 100% a cakewalk, just be a little patient, you can still get it done. My last install on this vehicle took way longer than what it was supposed to take, but, you know, it was just me. I didn't have an extra set of hands to say, hey, like, lift this up so I can slide this in here, or hold this tight so I could, you know, bolt it down and hit it with the impact. It's just me doing these things. For most of everything on this car, I've done myself. The Supra, in terms of tuning and stuff like that, yes, it's been me, but the bench unlock was done by somebody else, and the downpipe done by somebody else. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, if it saves me time and I have the money, I'll just do it. I'll just have somebody do it. But for this car, a lot of this car is me, you know, so that's another reason why I'm still very happy to have it, because you get a sense of pride modifying your own vehicle 100% and picking and choosing what it is that you want to do. And it's nice. It's a beautiful thing, and this car is a great platform for that. So, how do the cars feel between each other? I would say this one obviously is not turbo, and it's NA and it revs high. Right from jump, all you want to do is rev the piss out of it if you need to go somewhere quick. But obviously with the Supra, the power is like this. So if you need to pass somebody in like a second, you could do it because you're just that much more faster. Keep in mind, this car probably still only makes 200 to the wheels after modifications. And I may say I'm a generous 230 horsepower. I believe that still. I still believe maybe this car after modifications is 230 horsepower from the wheel. But I think, I mean, 230 from the engine. But I think, yes, it's 200 wheel, and torque is probably irrelevant because I still have to put my foot to the metal. So, whereas the Supra is, I'm looking somewhere 450 wheel horsepower and like 500 pound-feet of torque. So, big difference. You would think I would never want to drive this car again, but for obvious reasons I've stated, that's why I still have it and I still enjoy it. As far as the tuning experience, I do like the tuning experience a little bit better because I was able to kind of modify more things myself. But I think for the ease of everything, it is better on the EcuTech Supra combination because it was just, everything was fast. Everything is fast and it's so much smoother. I mean, if I had EcuTech for this car, I'm sure I would be accustomed to a smoother tune. This can get jerky at times and it's sometimes finicky. It doesn't give me problems, it's just that the ride isn't as smooth as I know it could be. But I do have a blast driving it. Like, it's just a fun car to drive. And you can go nowhere fast with this car but still think and feel that it feels good. Because it just does. It's just one of those cars. Like, that feels good to me. I went a little bit of somewhere, but you know, it's better than what it was stock, because stock it was not fun. You would risk your life trying to merge with traffic if you were going onto a turnpike or the parkway. It was terrible. Like, that was one of the biggest reasons why I tuned this vehicle, because I just couldn't put my life at risk anymore. It was starting to get absolutely annoying. Now, what I have on this car is, I don't have an intake, surprisingly. I probably should get an intake, but what I do have are the billet power blocks, which are just intake spacers, so it's more volumetric air getting to the intake per se, and it shifts your whole power band to the left. So all of that torque that you're accustomed to earlier on is just much more earlier available to you. But you'll find that the car gets high in the RPMs a lot quicker. But I wouldn't say it makes the car a great deal faster, it just shifts your power band to the left. I do have a Works Axleback exhaust on here, which I really loved because it's a muffler delete actually. So I do enjoy that. The CNT headers, they're like very budget, unequal length headers. They weren't supposed to last this long, but I had them wrapped, so they are still fine. Tsudo Overpipe, which connects to the headers. ABOC Sportline Pro kit springs for the drop, because I didn't want to invest into expensive coilovers when that really wasn't something I cared about being low, but this is just low enough. I have Apex ACR 8 wheels on here and Firestone Firehawk Indy 500 tires. These are, I believe, 9-inch wheels. They could be 8.5, maybe 9-inch. I forget sometimes. But yeah, I do have some modifications into this car. So to me, this is a blast to drive. Maybe to somebody else that's used to something faster, they'd be like, what's the big deal? But take this around corners and it handles like a dream, because that's what the car is meant to do. So honestly, that's my critique of the two cars. Like I said, I had more to say about this car than the other one, because the other one's very straightforward, whereas this one is, I have a story of what I went through to get where I'm at now. So It's not like I'm boosted with this car and I'm making 900 horsepower, 500, 300 horsepower. I mean, it's a mildly modified car for the most part, whereas the other one is lightly modified, but those light mods are some heavy gains. So that's all I have for this video. I'm really happy you guys stuck around and watched it. I know it was a lot of talking, not a lot of visual, but I wanted to give you guys a look at, you know, how I felt about the cars while I drove them, and why I necessarily like them, and for what reasons, and maybe why I don't really enjoy certain things about some things that this car does over the other one, or over the other one over this one. So that's all I have today. I'm going to be signing out. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.